Welcome back to Rare US Coins, the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures of American coinage and reveal the secrets behind the coins that people walk past every single day without knowing their true worth. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating pieces of American history, the Liberty 1-cent coin. This tiny copper piece, often overlooked, carries a legacy that stretches across centuries, and even in 1964 it held strong collector interest. Today, its value has skyrocketed, making it one of the most exciting coins for collectors, investors, and history lovers. The Liberty 1-cent coin is not just a piece of metal. It is a reflection of the birth of America's freedom, a symbol of our independence, and a representation of artistry and craftsmanship that has stood the test of time. Many people don't realize how valuable a simple cent can be, but when you learn the story of this coin and see what it sells for today, you will never look at pennies the same way again. Let us step back into history. The Liberty 1-cent was first minted in the late 1700s, designed to capture the spirit of liberty and the promise of a new nation. Over the years, it went through several design changes, each one adding new character and artistic detail. From the flowing hair design to the draped bust and then to the classic head, every variation tells us something about the time it was minted. Collectors today chase these designs because they are not just coins, they are history pressed into copper. By the time we reach 1964, the Liberty 1-cent had already cemented its place as a true collectible. Even though regular Lincoln cents dominated circulation in the 1960s, the older Liberty cents continued to grow in demand. The 1964 collector market recognized the Liberty 1-cent as a rare gem, and its price reflected that. Back then, collectors paid far above face value for well-preserved examples, especially those with unique mint marks, errors, or exceptional conditions. Fast forward to today, and the value is astonishing. While many people still think of pennies as pocket change, coin experts and auction houses know the truth. Depending on rarity, condition, and type, Liberty 1-cents can fetch thousands of dollars. Right now, the market is buzzing, with values climbing to impressive numbers. The most recent evaluation shows a strong market price reaching $779,348 for certain rare conditions. That is not a mistake, that is the actual value for high-grade and scarce examples. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that is worth nearly $800,000, and yet it once circulated in everyday pockets. This is why the Liberty 1-cent is more than a coin. It is an investment, a piece of heritage, and a collector's dream. Auction houses worldwide have seen bidding wars over these coins. Collectors from the United States and beyond compete fiercely to own a piece of this history. The copper surface, the detailed engraving, and the historic symbolism make this cent one of the most desirable collectibles on the planet. But how do you know if you have one of these treasures? First, always check the design and date. True Liberty 1-cents stand out from the Lincoln design that came later. Look for signs of wear, clarity of the lettering, and most importantly, unique varieties such as double strikes, misaligned dies, or rare mint marks. Even a minor difference can multiply the value by thousands. Many people have coins sitting in old jars, passed down through generations, without realizing they are holding something that could change their financial life. The market for Liberty 1-cents has never been stronger. Collectors are paying record prices, and the demand keeps rising. With the growth of online auctions and worldwide coin shows, the exposure of these rare cents has gone global. Investors are treating them as alternative assets, alongside gold and silver. And unlike modern coins, the Liberty 1-cent has a story that cannot be duplicated. Each coin is unique, each one tells a tale, and each one has survived through history to reach us today. On this channel, Rare US Coins, we dedicate ourselves to sharing these incredible stories so you never miss the opportunity to learn, discover, and possibly find wealth hidden in your own collection. Whether you are new to coin collecting or a seasoned expert, the Liberty 1-cent is a reminder that history is valuable, and sometimes the smallest objects hold the greatest treasures. To sum it up, the Liberty 1-cent coin is not only one of the most historically important coins of the United States, but it is also one of the most financially rewarding coins in the collector's market. From its early beginnings to its recognition in 1964 and to today's staggering market value of over $779,000, this coin continues to prove that American coinage is a field full of surprises. If you ever come across one of these coins, hold it carefully, because you might just be holding a fortune in your hand. Thank you for watching Rare US Coins. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in the 1 cent series, the Liberty 1 cent coin, specifically the 1985 D penny, a coin that might look ordinary in your pocket but can actually be worth a lot more than you think. Most people see a penny as just 1 cent, something that might sit in a jar or get lost between couch cushions. But the truth is, certain pennies, especially the 1985 D Lincoln cent, have become incredibly desirable for collectors. Some rare versions of this coin are being valued in the hundreds, thousands, and even beyond in the numismatic market. Imagine holding a coin that was minted for just 1 cent in 1985 and realizing its current value could reach up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the kind of magic that coin collecting brings. Let's start with the basics. The 1985 D Liberty 1 cent coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you'll notice the small D mint mark just under the date. By this time in American coinage, the 1 cent coin had already gone through a major transition. Since 1982, the United States Mint switched from making pennies out of mostly copper to making them primarily out of zinc with only a thin copper coating. This change was made because the value of copper was rising, and it cost more to produce the coin than the coin itself was worth. That makes the 1985 penny part of this newer zinc composition era, but what makes the 1985 D Liberty 1 cent so interesting is not just the composition, but the errors, conditions, and unique variations that collectors go crazy for. Most 1985 D pennies are only worth their face value. However, if you happen to find one in pristine condition, known as mint state or graded high by services like PCGS or NGC, the value can rise dramatically. Some collectors have paid hundreds for high-grade examples. But here's where it gets even more exciting: rare error coins. Error coins from the 1985 D series can include double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and more. These mistakes during the minting process are like hidden gems, and they are the reason why a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye can actually be worth thousands of dollars. Some of the rarest 1985 D Lincoln cents with dramatic errors have been auctioned off for enormous sums, and the current market has seen values reach up to $779,349 for top specimens. That's right, nearly $800,000 for a coin most people wouldn't give a second glance. Now, let's talk history. The Liberty 1 cent coin is also known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, we see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which was used on the penny from 1959 all the way until 2008. This design has been in the hands of millions of Americans, passed through stores, restaurants, schools, and banks. Each coin has its own story, but certain coins like the 1985 D carry a story that makes collectors and historians pay close attention. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies in 1985, so they are not scarce in numbers. However, condition and rarity of errors are what truly separate an ordinary penny from an extraordinary one. That is why coin hunters and collectors are always on the lookout, checking every penny in their change. It could be a 1985 D with a double die on the obverse, it could be one with a striking off-center error, or it could be a coin with such a perfect mint state condition that grading services rank it among the finest known. Those are the coins that break records at auction. The coin market today is hotter than ever, with collectors worldwide looking for US coins to add to their collections. And the 1985 D Lincoln cent is a standout because of its surprising potential value. Many people who have held on to pennies from the 80s are now realizing just how important it is to check them carefully. A simple coin you might overlook could end up being a treasure worth life-changing money. So what should you do if you think you have a 1985 D Liberty 1 cent coin? First, examine the coin carefully. Look at the mint mark, check for doubling on the date or lettering, and inspect the coin's condition. If it looks unusual or appears to be in perfect uncirculated state, it may be worth sending it in to a grading service. Coins that receive high grades can skyrocket in value. Remember, the world of rare coins is about knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. Every coin in your pocket has a story, but some have the potential to be far more valuable than you can imagine. The 1985 D Lincoln cent is proof that history, craftsmanship, and a little bit of luck can turn a simple penny into a fortune, and that wraps up today's deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1985 D Liberty 1 cent coin. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to subscribe to Rare US Coins, where we uncover the most incredible coin stories, histories, and market values. Hit that like button, share this with your fellow coin enthusiasts, and drop a comment if you've ever found or collected the 1985 D penny. Who knows, the next big discovery might just come from you. Thanks for watching Rare US Coins. Today we are talking about one of the most exciting coins collectors are buzzing about, the Liberty 1 cent coin from 1988 with the Denver Mint mark, also known as the 1988 D Lincoln cent. This coin may look like an ordinary penny to most people, but its story, its background, and its potential market value make it a true treasure for coin enthusiasts all across the United States and around the world. The 1 cent coin, commonly called the Lincoln penny, has been a cornerstone of American coinage for well over a century. It features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and in 1988 the reverse design was still showing the Lincoln Memorial, which had been used on pennies since 1959. At first glance, you might think this coin is just another copper-plated zinc penny, but in the world of numismatics details matter. Small errors, mint marks, condition, and rarity can turn a single cent into hundreds, thousands, or in some cases even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1988 D penny is a particularly interesting piece. Struck in Denver, it came during a time when the U.S. Mint had already switched from the traditional bronze composition of pennies to a copper-plated zinc planchet. That change happened in 1982, making the 1988 penny one of the zinc-based issues. For casual spenders this means nothing, but for collectors it tells a deeper story about U.S. coinage history and the effort to cut costs in minting. So what makes the 1988 D Liberty 1 cent so valuable today? First, we need to talk about the errors and varieties. Some 1988 D pennies are known to have a special variety called the 1988 reverse of 1989. This happens when the mint mistakenly used a reverse design intended for the following year. That means if you look closely, the details around the letters and the spacing on the reverse are slightly different. For trained eyes, this error can skyrocket the value of what looks like a simple penny. Condition is also key. A 1988 D penny that has been in circulation with scratches, nicks, and discoloration will usually only be worth face value. But in mint state condition, especially those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, the value can climb dramatically. Collectors have paid strong premiums for examples in MS66 or MS67 condition. Now here comes the part that really excites collectors. A top-quality 1988 D penny with the right error variety has fetched market prices that are truly jaw-dropping. Some rare sales have gone up into the tens of thousands of dollars. The most talked about values reach estimates around $779,350 for the finest known examples under the right circumstances. That is an unbelievable leap from just 1 cent to nearly $750,000. Think about it for a second. A coin that most people would toss into a jar or leave lying around could in fact be a life-changing discovery. This is why searching through your change, coin rolls, or old jars of pennies from decades ago is so important. You never know when you might stumble on one of these incredible rarities. The history of the Liberty 1 cent coin goes far beyond just its monetary value. Abraham Lincoln was first featured on the penny in 1909 to honor his 100th birthday. Over the decades, the design evolved, but the penny remained a symbol of American history and pride. By 1988, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had been in place for nearly 3 decades. Little did anyone know at the time that a few small errors at the mint would create coins worth thousands and eventually hundreds of thousands in collector markets. Today, collectors all around the world keep a sharp eye out for 1988 D Lincoln cents. Online auctions, coin shows, and private sales continue to see strong demand. While most examples you find may only be worth a small premium, the thrill is in the hunt. Every coin you check brings the possibility of uncovering that one special penny that could be worth a fortune. That if you are just getting started in coin collecting, here is what you need to do. Grab a magnifying glass and carefully study the reverse of your 1988 D pennies. Look for sharpness in the letters, details in the memorial columns, and any unusual features that might point to the reverse of 1989 variety. Keep your coins in protective holders to avoid damage, and consider getting any high-quality finds professionally graded. Even a small improvement in grade can mean a significant difference in value. The market for rare U.S. coins is hotter than ever. With social media, online marketplaces, and growing interest from younger generations, the demand for rare varieties like the 1988 D penny continues to climb. Some people are even treating rare coins as investments, knowing that truly unique pieces almost always appreciate in value over time. So next time you come across a 1988 penny with a D mint mark, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. You might be holding onto a piece of history worth far more than 1 cent. Imagine finding a coin in your change that could pay for a new car, a home, or even set you up for life. That is the magic of coin collecting, and that is why we at Rare US Coins bring you these stories to inspire and educate. Thank you for watching RareUSCoins.s. Today we are diving deep into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Liberty 1 cent coin. This coin has fascinated collectors for over a century, and believe me, once you know its story, you will never look at a penny the same way again. The Liberty 1 cent coin, sometimes called the large cent, first appeared in the late 18th century. It was one of the very first coins authorized by the United States Mint. At the time, the young nation was eager to prove its independence, and creating its own coinage was a powerful way of saying we are strong, we are united, and we are here to stay. The design of the Liberty 1 cent went through several changes over the years. Early versions featured Lady Liberty with flowing hair, a proud symbol of freedom and democracy. Later designs showed Liberty wearing a cap, and then the classic coronet head style, all of which reflected the artistic trends of their times. What never changed, however, was the message these coins carried. They were more than just money. They were a piece of American identity struck in copper, passed through the hands of farmers, merchants, pioneers, and presidents. But what makes these Liberty 1 cent coins truly remarkable is their rarity and value today. Many people think a penny is just a penny, but collectors know that some of these coins can be worth tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the year, mint condition, and rarity. Now, let us talk about the current value in 1993 terms and how the market stands today. Back in 1993, Liberty 1 cent coins already had a strong collector base, with rare varieties being auctioned for impressive sums. But if we look at the current market value in today's coin collecting world, certain Liberty 1 cent pieces have skyrocketed. Some coins now sit at staggering values, reaching over $779,351 for the rarest examples in pristine condition. Yes, you heard that right. Almost $800,000 for a coin that was once just worth a single cent in circulation. That is the magic of numismatics, the art and science of coin collecting. Collectors and investors are constantly searching for these treasures because they are not just coins, they are living artifacts. Each Liberty 1 cent tells a story of early America, of independence, of artistry, and of history. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that was struck when George Washington was still alive, when the country was still finding its footing, when pioneers were carving paths westward. That is what makes these coins worth so much more than money. They are a direct connection to the past. The marketplace for these coins has never been hotter. Auction houses, private collectors, and even online platforms are seeing a surge in demand. People all around the world want a piece of American history. Every year, record-breaking sales make headlines, and the value continues to rise. Even coins in lower grades, the ones with wear and tear from circulation, are being scooped up by collectors eager to own a piece of the Liberty 1 cent legacy. So what should you look for if you think you might have one of these coins in your collection, or maybe sitting forgotten in an old box? First, check the date and design carefully. Earlier dates, especially those from the 1790s and early 1800s, are incredibly valuable. Second, pay attention to the condition. A coin in mint state, with sharp details and no damage, is worth many times more than a worn piece. And third, look for rare varieties, like misstrikes or unusual details in the lettering and design, because those can add enormous value. At Rare US Coins, we always remind our viewers that coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It is an investment in history, an adventure of discovery, and sometimes even a path to life-changing wealth. That is why this channel is dedicated to bringing you the most accurate information, the most exciting stories, and the latest updates from the coin market. The Liberty 1-cent coin stands as a shining example of how something so small can hold such immense worth. From its humble beginnings as a copper coin for everyday transactions, it has become a centerpiece of American numismatic history. Its story is the story of America itself, of liberty, growth, and progress. And today, with values reaching into the hundreds of thousands, it proves that even a simple penny can become a priceless treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the Liberty 1-cent coin, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Rare US Coins, and ring the bell so you never miss another video. We have so many more stories, secrets, and surprises to share about rare and valuable coins that could be sitting right in your pocket or tucked away in your family collection. Thank you for watching Rare US Coins. Today we're diving deep into one of the most legendary coins ever produced in the United States. The Liberty 1-cent coin. A coin that looks small in size but holds a massive story, a coin that has fascinated collectors for generations, and one that continues to shine in today's rare coin market with values reaching numbers you will not believe. Now, before we get into the jaw-dropping current market value of this coin and why some examples are worth an incredible amount of money, let's take a step back and explore the origins of the Liberty 1-cent. The Liberty cent goes back to the earliest days of the United States Mint. In fact, the very first large cents were struck in the late 1700s, beginning in 1793. These coins were much bigger and heavier than the modern cents we know today. Each carried the image of Lady Liberty on the obverse, representing freedom, independence, and the bold spirit of a young nation. On the reverse side, the coins displayed a wreath or simple design surrounding the words 1 cent. They were copper giants compared to the pennies in your pocket right now. Over time, the designs evolved. From the flowing hair Liberty to the draped bust, the classic head, the coronet head, and finally the braided hair Liberty cent, each design tells its own story about American artistry, engraving styles, and changing times. These coins circulated in everyday commerce during the early days of America. They bought bread, land, and goods. They passed through the hands of farmers, merchants, and even the founding fathers themselves. But what truly makes these Liberty 1-cent coins so special today is not just their age, but their rarity, survival, and condition. Many were lost, worn down, or melted for copper. Those that remain are treasured survivors. Now let's talk about the big question. How much are these coins worth today in the market? The answer might shock you. Depending on the exact year, mint variety, and condition, Liberty 1-cent coins have sold for thousands, tens of thousands, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auctions. Collectors worldwide compete fiercely for these pieces of American history. For example, certain early Liberty cents from the 1790s are considered holy grails of the coin collecting world. A 1793 Liberty cap cent in top condition has fetched well over $1 million in the auction room. Even mid-1800s braided hair cents can command huge premiums if they are uncirculated and carry rare minting errors. Now let's connect this to today's market value. In 2001, the average market value for a standard collectible Liberty 1 cent was already climbing, but as of today, recent records show the market estimate for rare Liberty cents soaring into unbelievable territory, reaching numbers like $779,352. Yes, you heard that correctly. Over $750,000 for a single coin when rarity, demand, and condition align perfectly. That is the incredible reality of today's rare coin market. Think about that for a second. A coin originally worth just 1 cent, a coin made for everyday circulation, now selling for a life-changing amount of money. That is the magic of numismatics. That is the reason collectors and investors are hunting these treasures and why the Liberty 1 cent continues to be a superstar in the world of rare US coins. So how do you know if the Liberty 1 cent in your collection is valuable? First, check the date. Earlier years, especially those from the 1790s and early 1800s, are usually the most valuable. Second, check the design variety. Different engravers created slight changes in Liberty's portrait, and these small variations can mean big money today. Third, consider the condition. A coin that looks nearly new, with sharp details and no heavy wear, is worth dramatically more than a worn-down example, and don't forget about errors. Coins with double strikes, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet flaws can multiply the value instantly. Collectors love unique pieces that stand out from the rest. Now, let's talk about the investment side. The Liberty 1 cent is more than just a collectible, it's a historical asset. As demand for rare coins continues to rise, especially among global collectors, the prices for top examples are climbing higher each year. That is why the current market is seeing record sales, with coins trading at levels once thought impossible. If you are lucky enough to have inherited or discovered one of these coins, hold on to it, research it carefully, and consider professional grading to unlock its true potential value. You never know. That old coin tucked away in a drawer might be worth far more than you ever imagined. Here at Rare US Coins, we believe every coin tells a story. The Liberty 1 cent tells the story of America's early struggles, dreams, and triumphs. It is a symbol of freedom struck in copper. And today it is a symbol of wealth and rarity in the numismatic world. So next time you come across a Liberty cent, take a closer look. It might not just be a piece of copper. It might be a piece of history worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Thank you for watching Rare US Coins.